Do you want to be in the shot? Okay. Good morning and welcome to a new video. I feel like I'm not alone when I say that January has been an exhaustingly long month. If you're keeping up at all with the news, then yeah, things are kind of insane and not looking good. And I personally have been on a little bit of a doom spiral about everything. And I also don't think I'm alone in that. And it has meant that instead of starting off the month with a lot of energy and fortitude and I guess momentum towards the goals that I had for myself personally and the ways that I want to kind of like show up in the world, I've just been basically bed rotting and like, I don't know, really falling off any sort of routine or like things that I do to maintain my mental health, like my little morning routine where I did my workout and I studied my French and I was even starting to journal again, which felt really good. Yeah, all that's derailed. I basically have been not having the year that I would like to have, and it's already felt like a very, very long one. So this weekend, I decided that a reset is very well in order. We're at the start of a brand new month. Hello, February. And what better time? What better time to begin again than the first of the month? And so I want to use this weekend to kind of return to habits that I know help make me feel better and keep me in a good mental headspace. And also just kind of get the momentum going again, get the ball rolling. When I was a teenager, I had this quote on my wall in my old bedroom that's just was really simple. And it just said, when you feel stuck, move. And I was kind of reminded of it the other day because I was kind of feeling really overwhelmed with like my despair. But I feel like the simplest way like to help yourself, I guess, is to just physically move your body. Allow the energy to move through you. And like it can be taken super literally, like literally going for a walk or doing yoga or something else that just kind of gets you a bit out of your head and into the actual physical body that houses your soul, and just kind of getting the actual energy to kind of like, course through you and not feel so stagnant. But I also think like it can apply, it's the same idea of sort of like, when you feel really overwhelmed with the kind of massiveness of like the task at hand, just taking the first small, doable, accessible step can be enough to kind of move you out of that sort of, you're in like a freeze response, move you out of that into actually being able to take action. So with this weekend, it's not that I exactly want to do these things. I really don't feel like it. I almost never feel like doing anything. I like almost always want to choose the path of like least resistance and pretty much just lay in bed and stay under my comforter with like a book or like doom scrolling on social media. However, to cultivate feeling good on a personal level and to harness, my inner energy that I need in order to show up not just for myself, but for my friends, family, for like my community, the world. Like it will be the result of getting myself moving, getting myself out of that freeze state. And it is as simple as looking at the step that is just right ahead of me. I don't really have a good angle for this, but we're gonna work out. I'm going to try one more option, which is even more awkward than the last one, I feel. Okay, I've decided that all the angles are bad, so... The question now is whether or not I add my bed sheets to this massive mountain of laundry that I need to do. I fear the answer is yes. Yes, I will be doing this as well. Jeez. Back with my grocery haul. I also have completed my laundry and put away most everything. I still need to make the bed, which is always my least favorite thing to do. But everything else is taken care of, so I'm feeling good. And like, I literally even did the grocery shopping, so what a productive day I'm having. I'm so proud of myself. Figured that I would give you a little bit of a grocery haul and talk through what I'm thinking about making this week. I decided I was gonna make some Japanese curry this week because I have like a whole block of tofu in the fridge and just some rice and curry for the week. Sounds so comforting and it's just kind of easy to put together. So got an onion for that, some zucchini, got one just regular Yukon gold potato, and I also have sweet potato at home, so I think I'm gonna do a bit of both. And then some green onion to top things off, of course. And then I think for breakfast this week, I'm gonna make just some steel cut oats. And I really wanted to do it with pear, so I got one Danjo pear, but I couldn't find any other pears that were even kind of ripe, so I also got a Granny Smith apple, and maybe I'll just put both in there for some variety of flavor and texture and all that good stuff. And then for non-produce items, I got the Japanese curry cubes that I always use, the S&B Golden Curry. This time I got the hot level of spicy, which I have like a really low spice tolerance, so this doesn't mean much, but I don't find it like too overwhelming. But you can taste like the heat in this, so they're not kidding. There is heat, and be warned, when it's hot, they mean it. I also got some pitted dates because my friend Jen always makes little dates with peanut butter in them, and I saw them in her fridge the other day and they looked good, and so I wanted to make some for myself. And then, because there was a good sale, I got 2 Ollipops. I didn't get, like, any really, like, fun or unique flavor. I just got cherry cola and ginger ale, which are probably, like, my 2 favorite soda flavors anyway. And I think I might have one with dinner tonight, but I'm gonna see how I feel. I think I'm gonna push off the Japanese curry till tomorrow, just because it's already 8 o'clock. And I am desperately hungry and just would like to get something in my belly and get in my pajamas and lay on the couch and rot. I've been craving my bed rotting all day, and I think it's okay if I give it to myself in little bits and pieces after a productive day. So I figured this would be a good opportunity to kind of clear out the leftovers in my fridge to create a truly filling dinner. So I've got some stir-fry veggies that I made. I don't know how long ago, honestly, but they're probably still good. And I also have a ton of tofu. Hello, I just got back from a run and I'm sounding incredibly congested and I'm feeling ready to eat. Let's make some pancakes.
not looking very attractive.
Wait. Okay, sorry. I just realized I could do the Nosferatu hand with this shadow cast on my wall from my lamp. Yes, we've reached the book portion of the video, which I hope becomes a more regular segment. And full disclosure, I am filming this segment a few days after the clips that you're seeing because that cold really, really hit me on Sunday. And I did not have the energy to film much else besides some cooking, which you'll see more of later. But I did want to come through and talk about a few books, including Yellowface, which is the book I was reading in the laundromat and finished that day, I think, or like the next morning. I just like laid in bed for several hours and finished it up. Really enjoyed it. Have some thoughts, and so I'm gonna share them, as one does when they have a YouTube channel. I'm sure you've heard of this novel by now, but if not, a brief synopsis for you. It's about an author named June Hayward, and basically a series of increasingly concerning white lies she tells in order to pivot her piss-poor writing career into stardom. And she does this by stealing the manuscript of her Asian American friend Athena, who dies in a freak accident on her watch. And in that moment in her apartment, as she calls the paramedics and watches them come through to like take her friend away, she's like, let me go steal some of her manuscripts. And then she's like, maybe I'll edit them because this is just the first draft. And then she's like, maybe I'll send it to my editor and claim that I wrote it. And a lot happens from there. Throughout the novel, June is trying to convince us that what she's doing isn't so wrong. Like, after all, like, the novel as it exists now would be nothing without her edits and like the paragraphs that she added and wrote and the creative choices that she made. Really, it's her book. And like all of the things that she does, she's trying to justify them to the audience, but I also think she's really still trying to justify them to herself. And it's really clear by the end of the book how much the kind of guilt of her choices is catching up with her and affecting her. And without giving away like any of the plot, I really enjoyed this book. I thought the writing was very crisp, clean, and fast-paced. And to me, like, the microaggressions and really clear, like, oh, sorry, my cat. I think that R.F. Kuang depicts our main character's racism in a really clever way because it shows kind of, like, how subtly racist people can be, like, and how they can hold certain ideas or assumptions or beliefs or take credit for certain things, like, and how easy it is to justify it to themselves. And I guess it was kind of like interesting and disturbing to like live inside this character's head because she clearly thinks she's a good person. And it was just fascinating, and again, I think the right word is disturbing to read, but good fun as well, thanks to just the really great writing in here. And I enjoyed it. Glad I read it finally. It's been on my TBR for like 2 years or something, and yeah, I recommend it if you haven't picked it up yet and you've been curious if this piques your interest based on what you've heard. I think it's worth a read. And then I have a few other books to talk about, which are all library books and my favorite kind of book, really. And I love the library dearly. I am its biggest fan, and it's so nice to put books on hold and then kind of forget about them, and then like a few weeks later, like get the nice little notification of like, oh, this book is on hold for you at the library, come pick it up. It's like a little treat to look forward to. And pretty much the only like hobby or goal that I've been keeping up with in my period of distress and despair has been reading, which has been such a good escape for me. You're being chaotic. You're being chaotic and therefore you're banned. I'm basically the library's biggest fan and biggest advocate. It's one of my most favorite public resources, and definitely get yourself a library card if you don't have one yet. But very excited about the books that came through on hold. Firstly, I got not a novel to read, but a book to study. This is The Bread Baker's Apprentice, and I am very excited about this because I need more things to do that bring me joy, more things to do that distract me from the world that I'm in so that I can revive my soul and then show up better when I re-enter. And bread baking seems like a good skill to pick up. I normally have a decent amount of luck with yeasted baked goods, like cinnamon rolls. I feel like I'm pretty freaking good at making those, and I've been successful at making cinnamon raisin breads and homemade pretzels and things like that, but I don't really understand the science behind what I'm doing. It's kind of just by feel, and I am convinced that I'm probably doing something wrong and just don't know it and getting lucky. So I really want to understand the science so that then I can be oh yeah, I can tell that the gluten is developed because of these signs, and I know that this bread is ready because you can tell by XYZ. I want to have the knowledge where I can really articulate it. I could teach someone because that's how much I understand bread. This book is just one of the few that I've seen come up that's just a good reference material. There's a few other I feel really popular bread baking books, but this one I went for in particular because I heard that they have a good bagel recipe and that's what I really want to learn how to make. Here are some photos. Yes. Oh, here's another photo. So I'm really excited to delve into this a little bit more. I really like bread baking too, because with yeasted products, it's normally you have to let them sit and rise for a while. And so it's nice because you kind of have a moment of activity and then you have a little break and then you come back to it. And it allows you to either do some other things in the in-between, which is just nice from getting bored perspective, or to rest, because sometimes bread baking feels really involved and exhausting, and it's nice to be okay, I have an hour to sit down and read my book. Read my book about love in the time of serial killers, which easily transitions me to this guy. Which this is so cute. My library had blind date with a book, and this was the one that came in my pick, and I literally don't know what it's about at all. Never heard of her. Probably would not have picked this if I had known, because I don't want to read anything even kind of about serial killers or true crime ever. But here we are. I'll read you the blurb on the back. PhD candidate Phoebe Walsh has always been obsessed with true crime. She's even analyzing the genre in her dissertation, if she can manage to finish writing it. It's hard to find the time while she spends the summer in Florida cleaning out her childhood home, dealing with her obnoxiously good-natured younger brother, and grappling with the complicated feelings of mourning a father she hadn't had a relationship with for years. It doesn't help that she's low-key convinced that her new neighbor, Sam Dennings, is a serial killer. He may dress business casual by day, but at night he's clearly up to something. It's not long before Phoebe realizes that Sam might be something much scarier, a genuinely nice guy who can pierce her armor to reach her vulnerable heart. Whoa. So we'll see. I guess it's a rom-com, feels very modern in terms of I guess popular culture interests. And maybe I will really like it. I have no idea. And then the last book I got is something that I'm very excited to delve into and apply what I learn, and one that I think what I learned from it will help to kind of keep me unstuck in the ways that I've been feeling these last few weeks is Democracy in Retrograde. This book at least purports to kind of frame the idea of civic engagement as self-care, as a way that we can make ourselves feel good, and how to kind of honor oneself's values through it. And it includes, I guess, kind of a breakdown of sort of how to understand the system that we work within and where we do have power as citizens, and also matching your personality and skills and values and interests to the types of actions that you can take where you do feel like you are making a difference and like you can contribute and, you know, contribute to the world you want to see, all that good stuff, and also how to implement that type of engagement and activity into your regular life. So it's not like, we're not like becoming civically engaged just in moments of crisis, but it's just, you know, 365 all the days of the year. Something that really stuck with me when I took a government class in college, and why I think I felt drawn to this book in particular, is that my teacher at the time, he was like, so many decisions, especially within your local government, are literally made by like a handful of people. You could live in a town or city of like hundreds of thousands of people, and there may be like 30 of them that are showing up to like council meetings and voting things for like local policies and stuff. And that left like a really big impression on me, because that's such a small sample size of the population to be making really big decisions about your life. And also like those local level politics and kind of culture influence, like, you know, who gets elected on a state level and like what our representatives are hearing from us. And that influences things on the federal level. It really does. And I'm not an expert in how our government is supposed to work by any means, but that is like a takeaway that I had that like always left an impression on me. And, you know, you're like, oh, I've got to get involved. Like, that's so serious. And like, I can make a difference. And you have the moments where you feel that way, I think. And then kind of, I don't know, get busy with your just day-to-day life as it is without being civically engaged, and kind of like forget until there's like a moment of outrage or upset again. And I'm kind of tired of going back into the cycle of like remembering, like having like an awakening of like, oh yeah, like I could engage in my like local government and I could make some sort of difference and I could exercise my right as like a citizen and participate civically. And then kind of like forgetting that I can do that and never really making any actionable steps towards participating and taking advantage of those rights that I do have to exercise. And I think this book is going to help me do that, and may help me feel a little less despairing, even if it's just to connect with like-minded people who want to see the same types of positive changes. And yeah, so I don't know. I'm not sure I'm the best at articulating this because a lot of this is new to me, but just if you are feeling at all similarly to how I'm feeling, I recommend looking for ways to find like-minded people in your community, whether it's just friends that you are reaching out to a bit more, or if you find like a club to join, or if there is something in your local politics that you feel called to engage in, like finding a group that supports that. I think those are things that will really help us during these times. Obviously, reading, staying educated, like staying on top of, or at least aware of what's going on in the news, not burying your head totally in the sand. I think information is power and we need it. It's just about learning how to filter through the noise for what's real and what to do with what's real once we know what that is. I don't know if any of that's helpful, but that's at least just how I'm trying to move forward and make feeling good and feeling like I'm making choices, I guess, that benefit myself, but also that benefit things beyond me, because I, at least personally, would like to live in a world where I consider my neighbors and my friends and my community and how my decisions impact other people and how even though this is hard for me to believe as someone who struggled with their self-esteem and struggled with confidence, like that my person, like that I bring to the table, my skills, like my knowledge can be of service, and that like giving yourself in that way doesn't have to feel burdensome or like not your responsibility or like a loss. Like giving yourself in that way can feel like really gaining a lot, actually. And that's what I'd like to believe anyway. And that is the person that I want to be in the world. And so this is one small step to becoming that person. So those are my books. That's my mindset. And now let's hop to the rest of the video where I make dinner, my delicious Japanese curry. Actually eat over here ever. Also, if you can see the steam coming up from the curry, then just know that's what's happening here. I'm gonna try the Japanese curry. I already know it's gonna be really good because I make this often. So this is just kind of for the bit, to complete the bit. Oh, it was so good. Japanese curry always hits. It's so easy to put together with the curry box cubes, and it's very versatile. You can put whatever veggies, meat, or other protein that you want to in there, and just kind of a great sort of staple, I guess, to have in rotation for like easy weeknight or lazy night meals. So I'm really glad I made this. It's gonna be super comforting to have throughout the week as I heal from this cold that's getting on my damn nerves. But the real reason that I'm over here is to try out this Olipop. This is the cherry cola. I feel like so beauty influencer doing this. Just between the two flavors I got, this one sounded like the right option. I don't know, not to be like obnoxious, and maybe I'm making this up, but I feel like the thing that I'm tasting that's like throwing off the flavor is that there's marshmallow root in here. And I'd just be curious if that's like giving it this, I don't even know how to describe it, but just a flavor that's like not quite cola forward. I feel like the cherry and like fruity earth elements are coming through like more strongly than like just a straight up soda flavor, if that makes sense. That's probably the worst description of all time. I'm still gonna drink it. I'm still gonna enjoy it. Probably like halfway through the can, I'll be like, this is kind of good. For the rest of the night, I'm just gonna take it easy because I've definitely had a full weekend, and hopefully we'll get to feeling better in the next couple days because I am miserable right now. And I'm not even that sick, but it's enough to be annoying. It's enough to be an inconvenience. It's enough to kind of cancel social plans. So I would like for this to redeem itself shortly.